what changed on the pardon center?
It is unquestionable to me that Jill Biden was deeply involved in this plan, that this was not planned out. They didn't run it through the pardon office and the division over at the DOJ, even though I'm told that Merrick Garland heard about this and did not object to it going through. And then, of course, CNN comes out, and that's exactly what they said, that Jill Biden was the one driving the train, and Hunter Biden was, of course, as he always does, manipulating the situation by putting pressure on them, essentially daring them to not pardon him, because even if he went to jail, which he would have been sentenced here in about a week, he still would have had the ability to speak freely about what was going on. And supposedly the idea was, he said something like, well, maybe I could work on a book while I'm in there. So Darren, why is it that the date of the pardon goes all the way back to 2014? Is there something that Hunter Biden was involved in back then?
Well, I would imagine there are a lot of things, not the least of which would be his instrumental role in various foreign endeavors, including the Ukraine, but not limited to the Ukraine, other countries as well. And so many people have commented on the broad scope of this pardon that likely encompasses a wide range of things. And so I think the whole idea about, a gun crime, which may or may not be such a huge deal, that's sort of a distraction from the more significant dealings that he was involved in, which very much involve his father, and just pertain to the very kind of petty but unfortunate type of low-level corruption that exists at a high level in terms of the president, but it's not a sophisticated scheme. People like Obama, they create an Obama Foundation. Clinton's create a Clinton Foundation. The Biden operation was not even, it was not even that sophisticated. It really is like kind of low-level, crude mafia activity that doesn't even rise to the level of, Whitey Bulger.
The Bidens are a couple of grifters.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just a family of grifters. It's low level. You got Jersey Jill up there. This really is the New Jersey of political corruption.
That's kind of what's the insult that's added to the injury, is that they don't even do the country the honor of having a more sophisticated corruption scheme of the sort that we're kind of used to with other Democrat presidents. Like, again, the Clinton Foundation is the model for this. Obama has his own foundation. The Bidens could not replicate that.
One argument, though, that I mentioned yesterday, and I'll say again, though, was that this was never meant to stand up to scrutiny, because go back in time to 2014. So the Maidan coup takes place. Victoria Nuland is picking out the members of the administration of Ukraine. She's on the phone with Jeffrey Pyatt, who, of course, becomes another name in the Trump impeachment over Ukraine. And something that needs to be said over and over is Donald Trump's first impeachment was for the crime of asking Zelensky, yes, the same Zelensky, on the phone, questions about the crimes that Hunter Biden was just pardoned for.
Correct.
And so he wasn't even allowed to ask about that, receives the impeachment, and we never actually get to the underlying crime. So that notwithstanding, in 2014, the idea was Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and all of this was the nest egg. Joe Biden was riding off into retirement, and Donald Trump wasn't even on the horizon yet. Right. It was supposed to be that the next president would be Hillary Clinton, because Obama had always planned to pass over Joe Biden, his own vice president. He never wanted to endorse him and didn't in 2016. And in fact, Hillary, of course, goes on to win the nomination. She's the one who wanted it more. She gets the full backing of the Obama network. And that was the first time that Obama stabbed Joe Biden in the back. So all of these things, Rosemont, Seneca, et cetera, these were all just, it was the nest egg. It was never meant to stand up to any actual scrutiny. And Biden was just supposed to go away into retirement. He was never supposed to actually be president. That's where they got caught with their pants down.
Yes, I think that's accurate, and it just goes to show that Biden was never at the stature, obviously, as somebody like Bill Clinton, someone like Obama, someone like the Bushes. I mean, the thing about these presidents is they've mostly Clintons and Bush's, but also to a degree Obama, they create an entire infrastructure surrounding them. And I think that's key to success politically and in other endeavors. It's something that in a non-corrupt version, I hope at least aspirationally, occurs with the Trump and America First movement. I mean, you need an infrastructure like that with its tentacles everywhere in order to really get things done and have your own genuine power base, so you're not always sort of navigating this tightrope between people who understand navigating the system and people who are aligned. You need the intersection of that, and the intersection occurs with the development of these types of networks. And Biden was never a player on that level, and I think this is yet another example of that. They're relegated to low-level, kind of cheap, straightforward corruption, whereas if you're at a certain level, you're not breaking laws, you are engineering loopholes to accommodate your own activity at a major scale.
Someone needs Uranium One needs a CFIUS decision, so someone tangentially connected to it makes a strategic donation to the Clinton Foundation, but there's no direct tie that's ever found where, like, I don't know, for example,
sitting in a laptop or
having a laptop where maybe Alex Soros can ask his new wife Huma Abedin about that, and the Anthony Weiner BlackBerry. Anthony Weiner. There's a guy, as producer Foz would say, a guy who looks like he wouldn't stand up to questioning, and in fact did not, because of course he's the one.
Confirmable.
Not Senate confirmable. Though Kash Patel, of course, intimately is. So when we look at all this, though, that's why you see the direct corruption. Burisma sits at an intersection of U.S. globalist interests vis-a-vis the pipeline diplomacy from Russia across Ukraine and into Europe. And that's really where it all comes down to. And not to get too deep into it, as we only have a couple of minutes left in this segment, but that really is the entire point of Ukraine. It is regarding those energy supplies being used, flip it back on itself, to turn Ukraine into a launch pad for regime change, not in Ukraine, but later in Russia.
Correct. I mean, energy is a main leverage point. It is a huge part of the geopolitical situation with respect to Russia. It's a major point of leverage, if not the major point of leverage that Russia has always had with respect to Europe, and in a variety of ways.
I believe they built a pipeline at one point.
Right, which disappeared, and I think we're told that Russia destroyed its own critical piece of infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, what nation would not destroy their own natural or their own oil pipelines during a time of war? Of course, I mean that's exactly what you do. It's the first step.
Chess.
The first step. Yeah.